KREM 2 News 10 at 10 begins now with Mark Hanrahan and Jeremy Legoo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. Hurricane Milton has made landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast. Here is a live look at Fort Myers Beach tonight, where you can see now the Category 2 storm is hammering the area with intense winds and rain. Right now, more than 1.5 million customers are without power in Florida. And take a look at this. 100-mile-per-hour winds have ripped the roof off Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. According to our sister station, the Tampa Bay Rays home field is being used for a base camp for thousands of first responders. The National Hurricane Center expects Milton to continue unleashing life-threatening winds throughout the night. CBS's Christian Benavides has more tonight.
Hurricane Milton made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast Wednesday after officials and residents took precautions ahead of the potentially deadly storm. In Sarasota, ambulances lined up, ready to evacuate nursing homes.
Milton still carries incredible destructiveness, can wipe out communities.
In an address to the nation, President Biden said the federal government will work with Florida officials to help pump floodwater, restore power, and clear debris that can turn into deadly projectiles during heavy winds.
I encourage people to look for safer shelter. Sometimes moving just a few miles can mean the difference between life and death.
The Tampa area has not had a hurricane this powerful in more than a century. Officials are concerned for the potential of deadly storm surge and those hurricane force winds.
It's moving toward the northeast at 17 miles per hour, and it will continue to move across central Florida throughout the night and into the early morning hours.
As Milton approached, mandatory evacuation orders and warnings were issued to millions.
We had to convince folks to get out of high rises, and that even if they were 7 stories up or more, then they were still at risk.
I've never been like this close to like a big hurt. We're just gonna keep sheltered up in our hotel room. I mean, we brought books, we brought card games and stuff.
Several major theme parks ceased operations and Orlando's airport closed ahead of Milton's landfall. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Tampa.
All right, we want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo now. He's been tracking this storm all week long. And Jeremy, Milton made landfall earlier this evening. So how far inland is the storm now?
It is not far. We just saw the last half of the eye wall make its way ashore. It's moving in right about in the central portion of the state, so we're talking 50 miles inland. The storm is still moving pretty good. It is currently moving east-northeast at 16 miles per hour. You do a little bit of math, we're looking at about 4 hours until it starts working its way off the eastern seaboard. Milton is still very impressive. Now starting to show signs of weakening here in the past, say, half hour. Big signs of weakening, but still some seriously incredibly heavy rain. Flash flood emergencies still in effect for Tampa, and as that storm is expected to move offshore overnight, we will then see the same impacts on the eastern seaboard that we have been seeing throughout the day on the Gulf Coast. That's going to happen overnight. Then the storm moves out. It's not done yet.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. We'll check back in with you later in the show. In other news, a new trial date for the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students has officially been set for next August in Ada County. A new scheduling order states that Brian Koberger's trial will take place from August 11th and could last all the way until November. The documents also outline that current defense counsel Ann Taylor, Alisa Massoff, and Jay Loxton shall remain as Koberger's defense unless otherwise stated. The next hearing is scheduled for November 7th for arguments on motions challenging the death penalty. Our other big story tonight, the Spokane Public School Board is looking into a potential change to the school schedule. That includes start times and an adjusted summer break. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy was at tonight's meeting and has more now on what was discussed. Connor?
The school board discussed moving start times for all public schools along with a potential change in the calendar year which would shorten summer vacation. They are both changes that could go into effect for the 2026-2027 school year. Wednesday's school board meeting showed a change President Nikki Lockwood says has been talked about for the past year.
to make the summer break a little shorter and to provide a few more breaks during the school year. And those breaks help students who need to catch up a little bit.
A change to the school year calendar with an additional topic changing the everyday schedules of students and staff, creating later start times for students. A presentation by SPS Chief of Staff Heather Bybee relayed research she says showed later start times helping students academically in both grades and test scores.
Teens, as they get a little bit older, they do like to stay up later, so that is part of their natural, kind of progression and circadian rhythms.
Lockwood, like all members of the board, listened to Bybee present the research, emphasizing long-term discussions have to happen before the change can take effect.
Talk about what's possible, talk about where there's opportunity, and then listen to those concepts through the lens of different perspectives across the community.
Lockwood agrees. Addressing the start times and yearly calendar potentially changing aren't just a factor for students, as well as parents, teachers, and other staff with SPS.
Any change that we do at the school district has just huge ripple effects, and so we really need our community to understand the why and then how this is going to look for them.
Now, the teachers union still needs to negotiate on the matter of the calendar year change for the fall of 2026 school year. SPS says they are not making any scheduling changes as they plan next year's calendar. In studio, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Connor, thank you very much. And now to our Night Beat with a quick look at today's top stories. Schools in Idaho say they are making a safety priority. 27 districts will receive grant funding to hire school resource officers. That grant money will sustain the SRO position for the next 3 years. The very first school district to hire their resource officer in late September was Orofino School District, who chose Deputy Colton Rose for the role.
I'm super excited to do this. I'm not out here to criminalize any kids. I want the best for the kids. And I'm excited to be with them from when they start kindergarten up until they graduate. I'm excited to see how they grow from there.
The Idaho Department of Education says this comes as many schools have struggled with not passing their levies, forcing local districts to let go of their school resource officers. New tonight, Idaho Fish and Game has been treating the Snake River to kill invasive quagga mussels for the second year in a row. The Department of Agriculture says they have found fewer quagga mussels this year compared to 2023. Crews are using the same copper-based formula they used last year. You might remember it killed a significant number of fish. They say the quagga mussels can ruin the Snake River's ecosystem and cost Idaho millions of dollars.
They will really outcompete anything if left unchecked and allowed to establish. So they'll have a significant impact on food availability for the entire aquatic system. They'll have impact on fish habitat. Certainly for a river such as ours that people utilize for recreation, power generation, irrigation. It would severely impact all of those.
Access on the Snake River is closed between the Hanson Bridge and the Broken Bridge. A flight headed from Seattle to Turkey had to make an emergency landing in New York last night after the pilot died on board. A spokesperson for Turkish Airlines says the 59-year-old pilot lost consciousness at some point after the flight left SeaTac last night. Crew members made an emergency landing and worked to revive the pilot, but he died before they landed. Data from FlightAware shows the Airbus A350 landed at JFK just before 3 o'clock our time. The pilot had worked at Turkish Airlines since 2007, and the airline said a routine health check showed no health problems that would have prevented him from working. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. All right, checking back in with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo, this time talking our local forecast. Jeremy, kind of a gloomy day compared to Monday and Tuesday today.
Yeah, as those clouds slid in, it was a sign of things to come. But the good news is, it does look like we turn around by the weekend. Mark, let's talk those temperatures because it's clearing out, and that means they are going to drop. A little bit of cloud cover down to the south. Notice this line right here. It's going to be our magic line of temperatures. Overnight, our temps will fall, and above that line, you're talking 30s above and west of that line. South and east of that line, you're talking temps in the 40s. Seriously, 41 in Coeur d'Alene, 45 in Libby, 40s down across the Palouse. Here in Spokane, we may just drop into the 30s. It looks like Deer Park makes it below freezing. Tomorrow afternoon, about where we topped out today. The difference is it comes with a little more sunshine. We're back in the mid-60s Thursday and Friday. And as we head into the weekend, we're talking nothing but sunshine as temperatures climb back to the mild side.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.